Hello, everyone. Information in Siege is the most powerful tool you have on defense or attack. Oftentimes, attackers do not use information to its fullest extent. Knowing what the defense is doing, who is doing it, where they're doing it, and knowing this at all times will win you rounds. You don't even need good gun skill. If you know where you should be looking, you'll just win more gunfights, and in turn, you'll win more games. Obviously, droning as a concept is fairly simple. You just drive your little drone into the building and see what is in between you and planting the diffuser. And while that sounds simple in theory, in practice, there's so much more you can do with droning and information in general. Information is not just seeing enemies, but also seeing where they're not, which I think is an important concept most players don't understand. As well as that, just seeing the building and how the defense is playing it will reduce uncertainty, leading to better decision making. In my last video, I talked about defensive gaps, and droning is the number one tool you can use to find those. So, in this video, there are a handful of topics I want to discuss: active versus passive droning, droning for your teammates, information decay, good and bad droning habits, and I'll show some practical applications too. First is active droning. Active droning is droning to gather information you plan on using at that moment. Droning yourself or a teammate into the map to take space is active droning. You're also not droning just to find enemies. The point of droning is to gather information to take map control. You want to reduce the uncertainty of what's going on around the map. So here we have our sledge and our ash. If we drone in right here and check this entire area, and whether or not there's an enemy there, we have the information on it. If we don't drone this area of the map, we are uncertain about what's going on over there, and uncertainty is going to cost you rounds. Just knowing that there's nobody there gives you that certainty that you don't need to worry about it. You also need to remember that droning for teammates is much stronger than droning for yourself. If you drone yourself in, there's a delay between when you gather information and when you can act on it. Defenders can reposition or run away and waste your time. If you are droning a teammate, they can act on that information much quicker. So, while active droning is drones that are being moved around the map to gather information and take map control, passive droning is used to control the space or have continuous information coming in. Think of flank drones, cutoff drones, and just drones you put in high enough spots that gather information for you. These kinds of drones usually intertwine, but each are different, and if you use them properly, they're incredibly strong. Flank drones are strong because they can, one, obviously watch your flank, but two, it can give defenders a false sense of security. A well-placed flank drone that is being constantly monitored will give intel on a flanking defender. If the defender doesn't know about the drone, they may think they're about to walk into a big play, but in reality, they walked straight into your pre-fire. Cutoff drones are great on all maps, since they give information about if an attacker is on a certain area of the map. Oregon has some really good cutoff spots, and the most common is probably this drone hole right here. This drone can see all the way into dining, so if a defender walks past, you'll always know about it, assuming someone's actually monitoring the drone. The last kind of passive droning is drones that sit in high traffic areas. They can be flank drones or cutoff drones, but they don't have to be either. Some maps have excellent spots for these kinds of drones. Bank, for example, has maybe 100 of them. Here's a cool drone hole spot that looks right into the basement area. Here's another spot on border that looks down to the office. You just gotta throw your drone on the roof, jump into this dome, and look down, and you have a full view of the office. And here's another spot on canal that sees straight into the objective. All of these spots are high traffic areas, and the information you can gather from just setting a drone here will go a long way. So, the point of these drones are to gather information and then act on it. Well, to act on that information, you need to do it in the moment. Otherwise, the information can decay. Information can become outdated pretty quickly, especially in a situation like a roam clear. If a defender knows they're being droned, they're not going to stay in the same spot and let you come to them. This is, again, why you always want to be droning teammates. Always be available to gather and to act on any information you gather. Otherwise, why bother droning? I know I already talked about it a little bit, but I wanted to show some more examples. One of the strongest forms of passive information are cutoff drones. They're drones that you have placed that let you know if a defender crosses a certain area of the map. This is usually something you set up in the prep phase and hold until your team takes control of an area of the map. Instead of having to get to the location you want to drone, you can make sure it's clear before the action phase is even started. This works really well if you have multiple drones holding these spots. An example would be here on Clubhouse. In the prep phase, me and one other teammate can pre-place these drones on the top of red stairs and one on the top of main stairs, and one person can just flick through these constantly until the other teammate goes to the roof, opens up the hatch, and assuming it's all clear, now you have top floor control without having droned any of it. Another example is here on Cafe. If you and a teammate place drones on each staircase, then you'll know if any defender comes upstairs. This is really useful when attacking this map because pretty much every attack requires you to do a top-down roam clear. If you're able to eliminate the entire top floor droning section by just pre-placing drones in the prep phase and having one guy hold them, that'll save you a lot of time. Now let's cover some common droning mistakes. I think the most common ones are going to be droning without a purpose, not acting on information you may learn, over droning, and giving your drones away for free, specifically in the prep phase. When you drone anything, you need to have something in mind as to why you are droning. Are you looking for enemies? Trying to find a hole in the defense? Are you setting up a camera for someone to watch? If you just throw your drone out hoping to find something useful, you're wasting your time in the round. Whenever you do find information you deem valuable, you need to decide how to best act on that information. When it comes to acting on that information, you need to do it at a time that makes sense. It depends on the information you're looking for, but if you're droning to find the location of a roamer, for example, you should be acting on information you find immediately. It may kind of seem like a no-brainer, but I've seen plenty of people drone something, find something important, and just do nothing with that information. You could chalk this up to them not knowing that it's important information, but I see this in all ranks and sometimes even in Pro League. When you drone with a purpose until that purpose is fulfilled. If you're going to drone a room with the intent on taking that space, you should be prepared to deal with anything that may come your way, or have a plan to not deal with it, like attacking through a different door. The last mistake that I'm sort of iffy on calling a mistake or not is just throwing your drones away, especially in the prep phase. Sometimes I can understand doing this to get information on what operators the defense has, but just driving in without a reason, not even scanning somebody, is just a poor use of a drone. Now let's talk about some good habits. First is placing a drone in the area you plan on entering. If you're attacking on Oregon, for example, and plan on coming in through Big Tower, you can place a drone here, and not only will it act as a cutoff drone for anyone going upstairs, but it's also a drone you can use when you're entering the building. Once you or your teammate are close by, you can just use that drone to drone forward, and now you have intel wherever you're going. Another good habit is using drones as a means of pressure. Obviously, shooting at someone and cutting off angles is good pressure, but sometimes just droning someone and spotting them while your team pushes them can be good pressure too. Especially in lower ranks, people just start to panic when they get spotted and will start making mistakes, and give you easy kills. Next is always asking yourself, what is this drone trying to accomplish? Is it a cutoff drone, a flank drone, or a map clearing drone? When do I plan on getting off of it? Where can I leave it that is safe when I'm done? You only get 2 drones, and you should be using them wisely. Some of the best players in the world, specifically support players since they live on cams, always drone well. Now let's look at an in-game example of this. I'm playing on Oregon, and we're attacking top floor. Our attack is a big window white stairs take. I'm going to set a cutoff drone here and allow my teammate to take the map control quicker without having to drone this part of the map. Once they're here, they're going to hold the angle while I clear in front of them. Security is clear, the hallway is clear, and now I'm going to make the call that they can walk up white stairs safely. They're going to walk up white stairs, and this is going to allow me to come into the map and start holding their flank. I'm going to move in through the hallway, same way they did, get much closer, and I'm able to sit in security and hold the flank. They already placed a drone in the prep phase in another spot, and I can flick through these 2 drones and be able to watch the flank safely. Should anyone come, like down the hallway for example, I can easily peek and know they're there. I know it's a custom game and all, but consider the position we're in. We're at white stairs with 30 seconds into the round, and we still have our drones and we're both alive. The amount of value we got already in the round just off of good droning is huge. That was just one example of good droning, but that exact playbook can be applied to pretty much any attack. Set a cutoff or entry drone for your teammate, drone them in, have them hold the flank until you get there, and then you hold the flank. There can be even more depth here when you add more people. More cutoff drones, more drones for flank watch, or just more guns up to watch things. So, to recap, droning is not just finding out where the defenders are. It's about reducing uncertainty and controlling the map. Active droning helps you get map control in the moment, and passive droning helps you maintain that control. Whether it be a cutoff drone, a flank drone, or droning your teammate into the building, Every drone you have should have a purpose behind it. Gather your information and act on it quickly and win the round. I hope you learned something new. If you have anything you would like me to cover next, like roam clearing, site setups or attacks, or anything else, let me know. Thank you for your time.